We are after the season and talking with coach Ben Wisniewski. Wisniewski or Wisniewski?
Wisniewski is how they would say it in Polish. Wisniewski is how we would say it in the States.
Let's stay with our both versions.
Yeah.
Okay, so coach, please tell me, how is coaching in Europe?
It's been a great learning experience for me in a lot of different factors. Obviously, it's a different style of play, different teaching, and so I'm learning a lot about the game. I'm learning a lot about different countries and the players and the levels and the talent and recruitment and being able to travel. So it's been a wonderful experience for me to be in Europe and learn a lot about the game, but also learn about the landscape of European basketball.
You said different teaching. What do you mean by those words?
Different terminology. There may be different concepts offensively and defensively that our staff has, because it's a European staff, that I may have not taught it that way, or I may have not talked about it that specific way. So it's just a new perspective on basketball, and that's how you grow and continue to learn as a coach.
So what did you make you to come to GBA?
Yeah, I was at a point in my life where I was ready to for a new situation, a new challenge. I've always had an interest in living in Europe, and I figured this would be the time, as I'm not getting any younger, that I would like to move to Europe, experience living here for a few years, and then just continue to grow. I've always wanted to help European players have an opportunity to play college basketball in the States, and that's part of what GBA does, so it was a natural fit for me.
Okay, so let's go smoothly to what happened during the season. We are going up, we advanced to playoff, and what happens next?
Specifically the quarterfinals?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, we were playing very well at the end of the year, and we just did not play very well in the quarterfinal game. There was a big gap, of course, in the schedule, where the end of the regular season to the playoffs, and we lost a little bit of our rhythm, and we got outplayed by USK. So it was a very disappointing way to end the year, but that happens in basketball.
So from your coaching perspective, what was missing during those playoff games against USK?
I thought we missed a little bit of our chemistry and our continuity, the rhythm and the flow we had at the end of the year. We just didn't have during the playoffs. And then, of course, they're big, strong, and athletic, so they beat us up rebounding the ball, and that's an area that we need to be better in moving forward.
Do you remember beginning of the season?
Of course.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, we had very few guys, so we had roughly 9 guys on the roster, but we had injuries and different things happening, so most of the time we were playing with 7 players. So we had our challenges, but the group was a very tight-knit group, and we were together all the time, and they did a really good job of battling through adversity and finding ways to have success on the floor, even though we were often, outnumbered in games and didn't have a lot of depth. But I give our guys a lot of credit. They kept fighting, even if there was only 7 guys suited up at the beginning of the year.
Is there something specific what you really like about this group?
I like specifically is the sacrifice and the selflessness. They really played for each other, and they didn't worry about who was shooting, who was scoring. They were worried about what was best for the team, and that takes a mature young man to be able to do that.
You mentioned differences between America and Europe, but what was challenging for you as a coach during this season?
A little bit language. Obviously, often they're talking in Czech. I don't understand Czech. That was a small part of it, so there's a little bit of a language barrier, but for the most part they understand. Everyone understands English and what I'm speaking, what I'm talking about. And then, of course, the challenge is there's a few different rule changes as well, so that's something that I needed to touch up on, is understanding the different rules in Europe, how the game's going to be officiated. There's just small adjustments that I need to learn, coming to Europe to coach.
Okay, what are you working at right now?
Right now we are recruiting, so we are looking to add new players to GBA and skill development and get our current players better. So the off season is about development and is about recruiting to the academy so we can continue to improve.
Okay, and what about your guys? What was also again about the challenging, but how to manage the youth team? These kids are just kids.
Yeah, well, I think the greatest challenge in coaching is, we say, the psychological side, the mental side of it. So when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, you're going to have ups and downs throughout the year. You're going to face adversity, and just managing different players and personalities and having one-on-one meetings and checking in on guys and seeing what they need. That's always a challenge as a coach. So this was a younger age group than I've coached in the last few years. So there was more of that, talking to guys one-on-one and seeing what they need and watching film and doing this stuff off the court was really important. So that was part of the challenge of coaching a younger group.
So what is coaching life about?
What is coaching life about? It is busy, but ultimately we're in it to impact, young people in a positive way, and that's a great honor and responsibility that you have influence over these young men. And not only can you mold them on the court where they become better basketball players, but can we mold them, off the court where they become better people? Because ultimately, as they say, the ball will stop bouncing, right? They won't all be professionals forever. So at what point, when they are in the work world, or they have a family, or they grow up, have we taught them the skills and given them the character that they're positively impacting society?